What's up? Sorry I didn't dress up for this interview. My tuxedo t-shirt's at the dry cleaning. Oops.
This is the hardest decision I've ever had to make, but maybe showing my journey will help others remember who they are. We are not defined by our circumstances. I know you have a bucket list, and so do I. So scared or not, let's take back control of our own destiny because we are worth it. I always freeze whenever the camera turns on. Okay.
So here we are, 12 weeks out from initial surgery.
You go to work tomorrow. So I have some questions for him for the caretaker role. I think it is very important to know what you're getting into, both the amputee, which we've covered in previous videos, but also the caretaker. That's a huge, huge role. So here we go. Question 1.
What was the best preparation? I can't put my finger on any one thing because we did so much. Being an elective amputation, we had the opportunity to time it out with doctors, with my work, with family, with friends. We had some meal prep, but we requested, instead of a lot of meal train stuff, for gift cards, and so that was a huge blessing. I cannot put my finger on what was the best thing, so
I would say it was the food. Aside from me getting my body ready, of course, that was
right.
Huge. But we spent days talking about my role in the house. This is how I do this is how I do nap time, this is how I, whatever it is, do the laundry, whatever, because he is used to being outside of the house in a different role, and I'm used to my job in my role. It would be like me going to his job and trying to figure it out. So we spent days preparing. But one of the biggest things I feel like that saved time, money, stress, energy, all of those things is the food. Like he said, we had a gift card donation set up, and for those that donated, I've said it 1,000 times, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We had friends donate food in our freezer. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. It got us through the entire 12 weeks.
Yep.
So had we gone longer, I'm sure people would have jumped at the opportunity to help. People want to help you, so let them help you. He still had to take the kids to the grocery store. We still needed milk and juice and apples, fruit and vegetables. We still needed cereal, things like that. So don't think that if you do meal prep, you won't have to go to the grocery store, because you do.
Yeah, I think the meals was the biggest preparation thing that we did. Yeah. What was the most unexpected?
During caregiving. All of these questions are geared towards caregiving, not necessarily my amputation or my surgery.
Okay. The amount of work.
Finally, validation for stay-at-home moms.
The amount of work.
It's not an easy job.
I think.
He's been saying he wants to go back to work to get a day off.
It's true. The amount of work that goes into this household that you take care of on a daily basis is immense. And I didn't have to homeschool.
You didn't have to cook.
Didn't have to cook. There's a difference whenever it's one person taking care of 4 total, myself included obviously, but 3 others that are completely dependent, than it is whenever you have 2 independent people taking care of the dependents. And so
you couldn't ask me for help. You were like a single parent,
right,
during that time
with 3 children.
So expect that.
Right.
That's hard.
With 3 children, because it was help me up, help me get dressed, help me in the very, very beginning go to the bathroom, help me get into the shower, have to get all the food. Yes, very much. What was the most unexpected was the amount of work. And she kept saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, are you sure you're ready? Are you sure you're ready? Are you sure you're ready? And it was an eye-opener. It was an eye-opener, for sure.
Well, and you live here. Bringing
Right.
somebody from the outside in to clean the house or to babysit the kids or something is a whole nother stressor. So
It's another added dimension of dynamic. And so for the folks that wanted to help out in that way, or why we didn't call upon that, or why we rejected, for lack of a better way of putting it, was that added dimension of being worried about somebody else. And that's why we did it that way.
well, not only that, it's an emotionally charged situation.
Absolutely.
You can't forget the emotional part of it. For somebody to come in and help, or for even just for us to go out to eat once we were 6 weeks in or so, if somebody would say, come up to the table, hi, I'm so-and-so, how are you guys? I would just start bawling. So for somebody to come over to our house and ask questions, it's very hard emotionally to put into words the frame of mind that you're in that moment. And it was better for us,
Right.
just for us,
Right.
to not accept that help.
Right.
So thank you to the ones that offered, and I appreciate your understanding.
And those that are going to go through this, whether it be expected or unexpected, again, whether it be trauma or elective, your path may be different. And
Right.
that's fine. That's great. This is how we did it for our family, trying to minimize the level of chaos.
Yeah, chaos coordinator.
What is the best way to handle a major setback?
We had a
Breathe.
major setback.
Breathe. Breathe. I mean, we had a major setback with your surgery. But we knew going into this that we were going to be down for 12 weeks. And with that, when we got to week 6 or 8, 6, and her leg wasn't healing the way that we thought, the way that we were told, the way, not that anybody misled us, we're a little bit optimistic about her recovery rate. And pains?
Yeah, my big toe feels like it's getting struck by lightning. The big toe that I don't have anymore.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I would also say, not just in this major setback, but minor setbacks, we have a 2-year-old who's
Ow.
kind of potty trained.
That's not working. There's no toe there. Ah! Well, for some reason, I thought that would fix it.
Do we need to stop?
Let's take my leg off.
That help?
Let's stop for the moment. Alright, let's see if that does any better. Okay. So minimize the chaos. Try to think ahead and try to account for things that might go wrong, like bringing the clothes down so that he doesn't have to go up the stairs to go get the clothes. Take me a huge water jug so he doesn't have to worry about me for the rest of the day.
Right.
Minimize the setbacks as you think of them, so that when chaos does happen later, you have something right there that might help you. It's not always going to help, but it might help you.
Prioritize.
Yes.
Prioritize. What was the hardest part?
Of caregiving.
The easy one is not having any help, but from you, obviously, having to run the whole thing by yourself. But as far as actual caregiving, what's the hardest part? I wouldn't say you being upstairs, but that was a difficult one.
That's the one you complained about the most,
Yeah.
was how many times a day you had to run up and down the stairs.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Got
And of
cats.
course, little kids.
Yeah.
But that's our reality with caregiving.
Right.
So normal, just caregiving. What was the hardest part?
You were actually really easy. I mean, we didn't have to do any wound changing or anything. I can't do that. There was going to be
I did all that.
There was going to be none of that.
He was so good to look at my bad wound.
I did.
Yes.
I did. I stomached that a couple
Because
times.
I needed him to see what his thoughts were.
Right. The characteristics that I have aren't nurturer. Aren't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
He's a box checker.
What was the hardest part is putting myself into a role that, not that I'm not equipped for, it's just that.
You're not used to.
Right. Were you ever scared? How did you stay strong? Scared, yes.
About what? Because this is my first time hearing that he was ever scared. He never showed it.
Nope.
Ever. So
Ever.
that's why the follow-up question was, how did you stay strong?
Ever.
Because he never wavered. When I was a blubbering mess about having to have an above the knee amputation, if I got a bone infection, he never said anything.
I couldn't. We can't both be in emotional turmoil at the same time. When, again, at the end of the day, I am the only 100% capable, at that time, you didn't have a prosthetic, I'm the only 100% capable person in the home. I can't also have a meltdown.
Yeah.
So
how did you stay strong?
I had to be the rock. Just knowing that at the end of the day, God always had it.
Yeah.
He always had it. I was worried day 3 or 4 when you started having phantom pains.
Yeah.
We didn't know that that was going to be a thing that would eventually go away. I mean, granted, you just
It
had
did.
them and had to take
Yeah.
your leg off, but like they were really
Bad. Really bad.
for a while. Yeah.
Not as bad as what I've seen
Right.
from other amputees, but for me, never having them and keeping me up at night, they were bad.
Right. And so that was worrisome because is this our new normal? Then the wound that was open that wasn't healing,
That was scary.
is this going to be infected? Are we going to have to re-amputate? And so here we are talking, extend that out another 8 or 10 weeks, and it's like,
And we were already at
we're already
8
6
weeks.
or 8 weeks in the bag. Yeah, I only have 4 left. We don't have another.
Now
8
what do we do?
weeks, right? How did I stay strong? Was not carrying it. I didn't carry any of that at all. I thought about it. It concerned me, but there was nothing that I could do to fix it. So I didn't let it burden me. I gave it to God and said, "This is yours. This is not mine. I can't take care of this." My eyes stayed straight, focus on the target. There's a 12-week end date. I knew that at the end of the day we were going to be fine.
And while I very much appreciated him never falling apart, never questioning, never wavering, it did also concern me because I felt like he wasn't taking it seriously, that there was a serious factor at play, and I didn't think that he understood the magnitude or the emotional trauma that was taking place in me, having gone through something so traumatic and then having to go through it again, worse, when I had done a year's worth of prep and we didn't have any money left, we didn't have any time off left, things like that. He stayed very steady, and to me, I was all over the place, and so it didn't match up, and so I felt like he wasn't taking it seriously. He may have felt like I was being over dramatic. So
You'd never gone through this. How would you know?
yeah. During that time with that awful wound, I didn't think that it would affect my 2-year-old. I never showed my 10-year-old my wound because it was so bad, and I'll link the video of the wound if you want to see it. I did video it. I shouldn't have shown my 2-year-old. He's hard to keep out of the room. He'll just barge right in. But now he won't go near my leg, and he'll say, you know, ouchie, pain, I can't touch it, things like that. So he doesn't understand that it's okay now, and I think that scared him to see that open wound. I didn't think it would affect him because I didn't think that he knew what that was. He had never seen anything like that, but he did. He did understand that it was hurt and that it wasn't healthy. So that was my fault. I shouldn't have shown him. Again, I don't know if I could have hidden it from him, but I mean, he won't remember. He's 2, but
Right.
still, you know, you might take that into consideration if you have a 3, 4, 5-year-old. You know, just be careful what you subject them to, because kids do take on that emotional response that you have, and so maybe try to shield them or be strong for them and let them know it's going to be okay.
What made this easier?
Me not nagging you from upstairs.
You didn't nag me from upstairs?
Yeah. Yeah. I did drop a thermos on his head, but
Did happen. Did happen.
I needed more water, and he held his hands up, and I dropped it, but he looked away as soon as I dropped it, and boom.
Yeah.
At least I have good aim.
Right. The gift certificates were number 1. The gift cards for the food. What made
Yeah.
this easier? The gift cards for the food is number 1. We use our phones for lists and for reminders, and we do a really good job at communicating for the most part. We have some breakdowns every now and then, but if you don't, I'd be more worried than when you do. Having an outlet, I think that made this a lot easier, was having a time. You need to find some time for yourself. So,
As the caregiver.
right. What would I have done differently? What would you have done differently? What would I have done differently?
Was there any mistakes that you made?
Well, I'm perfect.
Well, I mean, like,
I don't know.
we tried to move. That didn't work. You can't do anything with the stairs. You can't do anything with the kids. Those were the hardest parts. We had the meals planned.
Right.
We divvied up the chores.
It's as things came at us, and me specifically, you just deal with it. So what would have I done differently? Well, if it's perfect, well, we wouldn't have done this.
Right.
I mean,
I would have not wrecked my motorcycle.
right. I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm a little blank on that question. I don't have anything definitively that sticks out. I wish maybe I wouldn't have been so catered to our youngest one. Catering.
Yeah, that's going to make my life harder.
It is.
Whenever he goes back to work, because now my toddler is used to, if he says anything, Dad's right there. And I'm not like that. I have so much to do that I'm like, yes, just a minute.
The oldest was out playing with his friends a lot. And so a lot of the time it was just the little one and I. And we had a really good time. Dad, I lay down on the floor and play with this truck. Dad, I come in here and do this. And so it's not that I would ever take away or want to go back on those moments, but there was a lot of things that I probably did too much to get myself able to get on to the next thing. And so I guess that would be the only thing, is a little bit of, I needed to probably do a little bit less correcting, or a little bit more correcting on my 2-year-old than just going through it and dealing with it, because it's like, we'll worry about it later, I need to get on to the next one.
Yeah.
You know? Don't
Don't worry about the tiny little flickers. It's the big fires you have to put out.
Right.
But now I all those little flickers are now fires
Right.
that he's going back to work and I get to correct. So that's okay. It's okay. We all made it through. We're all good.
For sure.
Life is great.
That's right. Those are small
But
potatoes.
if that is the smallest thing that he
Right.
could have done differently, I feel like we did a
It went
great
pretty
job at preparing for this, and If you need help preparing for this, please watch the other videos.
Absolutely.
I made a bunch of them about how to do this the best way, and it really did go very, very smoothly.
For sure.
Very smoothly.
What can a caretaker do for self-care along the way?
I think you already touched on that.
A little bit, but I'll go into it a little deeper. When my youngest is taking a nap and my oldest one would be gone, I would make sure that she had everything she needed so that I could get away and go tinker, board game a little bit, something to just completely remove myself from that.
Run an errand even.
Right, that was true.
Because I could crawl to the baby if I had to.
Right.
But he's predictable now,
Yeah.
thank God.
Yeah.
So he was able to get away for about 2 hours.
Right. When you can just kind of turn it off for a little bit, even if it's 30 minutes, turn it off for a little bit and do you, even if doing you is doing nothing.
Which for us was typically sleeping time for the kids. I would not bother him. I would let him do anything that he needed to do, which is generally video games or building something that he's working on with his hands, things like that, during nap time, which is every day, and of course bedtime.
Right. Find your thing. Find something to get away. Again, even if you can't get out of the house. Not everybody's situation allows that, but you can still mentally kind of check out, and you need that. You need that time for refreshing, relaxation. Your brain needs it, and if you don't, you end up with burnout. And if you're burnt out and you're at your max and you're finding yourself impatient, you become selfish instead of selfless. And as that role in caretaker, you have to be the most selfless person you've ever been and the most patient person you've ever been. And so take those breaks for yourself. Take that time to be selfish. Take that time to do whatever it is that you need to do, knowing that it's short, but it needs to be sweet. So that when you come clock back in, you're rested and ready to go.
Stop. Go to bed. Love you. So as the amputee upstairs, one of the things that I already knew was how big of a job this is, so I didn't want to burden him more. So if I needed something, I tried to say when you have time, which was confusing for him because he didn't know if that meant right now or like in a day or two or whatever. But I would make a list of I need lotion, I need water, I need a shirt, I need whatever it is, socks, and he would bring it all, and then I would be set for the rest of the day.
Right.
So as the amputee, you do have a role to play in this. You need to be gentle and kind and understanding and patient, all of those things, knowing that that person is there to love you and care for you, but not that they can do it right this second. So don't take this opportunity to be selfish. Take this opportunity to help if you can.
And you were.
Good.
There were several times where I knew that it wasn't just right, or it didn't happen quick enough, or just whatever.
Or it had onions on it.
I like onions. I ordered extra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
What is your best advice for a caretaker? Having a plan. Having a plan. You're more of a planner than I am.
Yeah, I planned for a year.
I just hate to do redundant work. I hate it. I have a logistics brain, and so it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
And you can't do that in a house with kids.
You can though. In my mind, you can. Things still got done. It just got done a different way. And I requested from her very early on, please, please let me do it my way. My best advice for the caretaker is, again, take your breaks, but you need to have a plan when you come out of that break.
My best advice as the amputee is to not criticize. Something that he mentioned was that he was able to do things on his own, and I was very worried about this time, as he would be if I took over his role at his job. He would be very scared that I would screw everything up, and when he came back, he would have to fix it all. So I tried to stay in my lane and understand that there are emergencies, which are very rare, and there's annoyances. All the annoyances, I tried very hard to let go. I think I criticized him one time. It didn't go well. And I couldn't take it anymore. But that was just one time in 12 weeks. But make sure to determine what is a priority and a fire and what is an annoyance, and deal with the fires. Make sure safety for children, obviously. People are fed, people are bathed, things like that. But if the house isn't picked up, it's not a big deal. If the shower doesn't get clean, not a big deal. Things like that. Make sure not perfection. We're not going for perfection here. We're going for get through it.
Right.
And get through it happy. Have some good times while you're with your family during this time. And
it was a great time.
I am so thankful for him. He did an amazing job. We're a great team, and
Agreed.
I don't think I could have done it with anybody else. He's my rock, and I love you
I love you too.
so much.
Can I go back to work now?
Don't leave me here with them.
Savages.
If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up.
For sure.
Don't forget to subscribe. Share it with somebody who is about to go through elective amputation. And if you are and you have any questions, leave me a comment. I would love to answer them. If you have any questions for the caretaker, he will answer those.
Absolutely.
Also, he watches the comments too. So if you have any questions, he'll answer them. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for being here.
For sure. I'm always here.
That's true.